Yeah, the temporary restraining order governs the behavior of federal agents in the entire Northern District, not just at the Broadview ICE processing facility, where we've seen numerous flare-ups between ICE agents and the public. It limits the indiscriminate use of riot control weapons against peaceful protesters and journalists, and requires nearly all federal agents to have visible identification even when wearing riot gear. A warning now, some of the incidents of federal agents using force against peaceful protesters may be disturbing. Reverend David Black of the First Presbyterian Church of Chicago shot in the head with a pepper bullet while peacefully protesting outside of the facility in Broadview last month by an ICE agent standing on the roof of a building. ICE agents indiscriminately firing tear gas canisters at peaceful protesters outside of that same facility.
He's my colleague.
Chicago television journalists shot at with pepper bullets or tear gassed. An unarmed protester thrown to the ground by ICE. Chemical irritants thrown by federal agents stuck in traffic in Logan Square. Just a few examples of actions by federal agents during Operation Midway Blitz, now restricted by a temporary restraining order prohibiting officers from indiscriminate use of force against, quote, members of the press, protesters, or religious practitioners who are not posing an immediate threat to the safety of a law enforcement officer or others.
Because the federal officials didn't like what they were saying, they meted out violence and weapons and tear gas. They were literally targeting people because of what they were saying.
Attorneys representing faith leaders, journalists, and protesters celebrating the win today.
I saw snipers on the roofs of the detention center, pointed down at us, simply trying to pray from our beliefs.
Former federal prosecutor and Loyola law professor Juliet Sorensen says the judge's order is clear and adds an important element. Federal officers must wear identification, even while wearing riot gear.
We have seen people masking themselves while acting on behalf of the federal government and using force against peaceful protesters and journalists. Journalists have the opportunity to write the first rough draft of history. That is what is happening right now in Chicago. And this is what reporters are born to do. They are bearing witness for the rest of us.
In court, DHS defended its use of force, citing an increasing number of attacks on federal law enforcement at the facility and its broad authority to protect federal property. Now, this temporary restraining order also prohibits federal agents from arresting nonviolent protesters who are not resisting a lawful crowd dispersal order unless there's reason to believe the person has committed a crime. This TRO cannot be appealed. It is in effect for 2 weeks until a hearing on a preliminary injunction, which could have a longer effect. But losses mounting for the Trump administration here in Illinois, a lot happening in court in just the last 48 hours.
And both of these decisions, we'll see what happens with them in 2 weeks and how
yes,
they
we will.